G'day everyone, welcome back. This time we're going to keep working on my Yamaha 5 horsepower bargain from Marketplace. Now, most of that statement is incorrect. It's not a Yamaha. I mean, best guess, I had a few people send me some emails, which was really good, with some photos of the Parsons outboard, and the engine looks effectively identical to that. So thank you very much to people who sent me emails and certainly commented and gave me some insight as to what this might be. It's not a Yamaha, and being Marketplace, it's not a bargain. I paid $350 for it, so you know, I wasn't exactly on the hook for a lot of money, but we had some issues. Now, what we're going to work on today, and hopefully get it all back together, is we're going to work on resolving the biggest issue, which was a lot of corrosion down in here. This is where the top shaft seal is for the gearbox drive, or for the actual prop drive. Now, that gap there between those two holes isn't supposed to be there. It's all corroded out. I did a little bit of excavation work and managed to find some resemblance of aluminium down there. So yeah, that's our biggest issue. In the last episode, well, quick recap. So when I got it, didn't idle, it'd run, but you'd have to run it with the choke on. The thing was just in a bit of disrepair. All the fuel lines were all hard and broken. So what we did last episode was we pulled the carburetor off, cleaned it right through. Basically every passageway, air and fuel passageway in the carburetor, was completely blocked. So went through, cleaned all them, fired it back up again, and it runs sweet. Idle's beautiful, seems to rev up. You know, whether it takes load or not, we'll find out when we get it on the boat. But yeah, it's running good now. So we set to work investigating why there was a lot of oil surrounding the water intake, and my money was on a blown top shaft seal, allowing gearbox oil to come up and then back down these passageways here, and essentially putting oil into the oil in and around the intake pickups. What I didn't expect to find was how just corroded out that was, and that was the shaft seal. So yeah, now if you want more information on that, I'll leave a link. Go back and watch the first video. There's a fair bit of information on sort of what I did. But anyway, what we're going to look at right now is I'll bring you in close and show you what I found with this, and then we're going to set to work on fixing it. Now, power head's good, like I said. The rest of the leg's pretty good. Drive shaft's fine. All the gears and bearings inside the actual 90-degree drive, the box, are good. It really is just this part here that's going to be the hang up. So right now, go subscribe if you want to keep up to date with this thing and any other projects coming on the boat. There's a lot coming up. Like I said in the last video, I've got my piston rings on the way for the BMW turbo diesel marine engine that's going in the big boat. So there's a lot coming, but no point working on the big boat if I can't get there, and I don't feel like paddling. I'm not that energetic. So alright, let's get to work. So here's what we found. Now, originally when I pulled that seal out of the top, I thought there was only one seal. There's not. This one, it's very busted up because it had to be so I could get it out. It was actually sitting on top. Now, it was in back to front, but anyway, it was sitting on top. What that means is that the bore for the seals is actually a lot deeper than what I originally anticipated, and it's also in pretty good condition the further you go down. Now, yeah, we're missing some up here, but I reckon I can get 2 shaft seals, get them a little bit thinner, because that's a 10mm seal. If I can get a 7mm seal, then I can put them in back to back, still use pretty well all of this bore, which is still in good condition, and I don't have to worry too much about actually sealing. I think as far as, you know, water ingress and oil egress, it'll be fine. What we do have to still worry about is this bridge, because you get hot exhaust gas and water coming out of here. So it comes down the leg and then out this portion here, and then out through this hole here. We've got to stop it getting across to where the seals are, because that will just blow the seals. The gases just eat away at the rubber, they eat away at the aluminium. So what I'm going to do is, I think like I mentioned in the first video, is I'm going to machine up a little aluminium plug that goes in here, sits up a little bit higher obviously. I'm going to make a dam across here, and I'm just going to mix up some, I'm going to use some DevCon, because that's what I've got. It's very similar to JB Weld, same sort of stuff. It's a two-part epoxy that goes hard like steel. You know, you can drill it, you can tap it. It's structural, if you will. It's probably not structural, but you know, it goes hard. That's what I'm trying to say. So that's what we're going to do. We're going to mix it up. Now these ports here, I don't really know what they're for, but I dug down and found aluminium at the bottom of both of them. But I think, because I'd like to return this back to somewhat, you know, structural area, I think we're just going to fill them up. Now, they hadn't filled up with DevCon before anyway, so yeah. I mean, there's no feed to them. There's nothing that comes in either side. It's not like a little water cooling passage for around the bearing or the bush. So I don't know what it's for, but it's getting filled up. So yeah. All right, here's our setup. I was actually lucky. I sort of hunted through and I got a little bit of plastic bar there that was perfect right. So the bore size is 21, that bar's 21, and it's like a nice tap fit in. I did sort of coat the bottom section with grease to hopefully stop the DevCon from sticking, but this is what we're working with. So where's the label? There. So yeah, DevCon. It's, like I said, very much like JB Weld. It goes hard, and yeah, should be good. It'll do what I need to do. As I said, there's no, it really won't be doing any sealing for the bore as far as the seal's concerned, because there's more than enough material left in there to do that. So anyway, I'm going to mix this up. This mixes up at, where are we? 3 to 1, 3 to 1 by volume, or 9 to 1 by weight. I'm just probably going to do it by volume and do, you know, 3 little dollops and 1 dollop. We don't need much, so. And yeah, it cures pretty quick too. So on a 30-degree day, it'll cure in 8 hours. And, you know, seeing as how we're like 2 weeks into spring, it's supposed to be 32, 33 today. So that's degrees Celsius. So it's going to be a warm one. Not ridiculous, but still, it'll be a warm one. So it should go off pretty quick. All right, let's get her done. Alright, all filled up. It's all above the level, so hopefully I can get that out. I'll get it out. One way or another, it'll come out. We'll get that out and then I can come through and I'll probably just file it, or yeah, just file it, take my time, get it all so it's all flat. Yeah. There we go. So I'm going to go and put it out in the sun, let it get nice and warm, and then fingers crossed in a few hours time, or probably tomorrow really, I'll come through and try and get that rod out, and then we can move on. So we're waiting for that to dry. I thought we might have a look at this section. So that's, you know, prop shaft. That's the actual prop shaft, that one. And I thought, oh, all the bearings are in good condition, so I won't bother replacing them. Except they're not. I don't think you'll be able to hear it, but anyway, they're not. They were quite grunchy, there's another word. Quite crunchy and everything. I gave them a bit of a washout and they didn't really get better. So I thought, let's just go and get some more. Now, these are non-sealed because they run in oil. Normal seal bearing. And voila, bearing without seals. So don't worry if you go to a bearing shop and the bearings they sell you have seals on them. They just pop straight out. So, and we'll rinse the grease out of them as well when we go to install them. That one's for the back of it. Alright, now I also got a new O-ring for the outside, and then I was able to get 2 new prop shaft seals. Now these are, what are they, 22 by 13 by 5. So 22 outside, 13 ID, 5 wide. Factory ones were 7 wide, not really the end of the world, it'll be fine. Shaft's in good condition, not worried about it. So what we're going to do is get the seals in first. Now, I'm just using a little bit of moly grease, which is waterproof anyway, so I wouldn't be too stressed that it doesn't say waterproof grease on it. Now, I couldn't really find the manual that said specifically what way to put these seals in. Now, if you have a look at the construction of a seal, so that whatever you're trying to keep either in, or essentially what you're trying to keep in or out, goes on this side. So half of this we're trying to keep oil in, so we're going to put one of the seals so it goes that way, which is spring side facing the oil. The other seal we want to keep water out, so we're going to go that way, which is spring side facing out. Now these have got stainless springs in them, make sure they are stainless, otherwise, you know, the obvious will happen. So the seals are actually going to go in back to back like that. So you've got spring side. I don't know if these lights are helping or hindering. I don't know. Either way, I'm sorry. My camera work's not as good as it should be these days. Ever. Sorry. Either way, they're going to go back to back. So the actual wiper seal sections are going to face each other. Oil on one side, water on the other. Neither shall they both go opposite ways. Now, having said that, so this one here, which is going to go towards the water, I actually packed where the spring area is with grease. Just, you know, it'll wash out, it won't live there forever, but, you know, why not? So yeah, that's going to go in, and we're going to go in that way, right down deep in the cup. Now, if you think I've done this wrong, let me know, and let me know why. I don't want someone just going, oh, you've done it wrong. Why is it wrong, or why do you consider it wrong? And if you could show me the manual, that'd be fantastic, because I found like a user's manual for the engine for an F5 series, but I didn't actually find like a workshop manual. Now this is always not ideal either, but it's what we're doing. Yeah. Yeah, go. It seems like it's home. Oh, not quite square though. There we go. Right, now in between these two, I am going to pack with grease. Just to another little layer there. Plus it helps protect the aluminium between the two. Now this one I'm going to put in just sub-flush, because that's sort of where it was. If it'll get there. Come on now. Oh. Alright, yeah. Just sub flush. Ow! Oh, that hurt my knee. Now we need to put, before that goes in, we actually need to, oh no, that goes on the shaft. That way. So we're going to put the drive gear in. Where did you sit? You have to sit that way. Oh, in there. Sorry, never mind. So you got to remember the spaces. So there's two washers there, and they go in front of that drive gear, and that'll have to go in. That drive gear's got to go on before this goes in, but we need to get that. So I get a bit of petrol in my nice clean container here, which has just got a bit of fuel in it. Give that a blowout and a clean out. Watch your ears. Alrighty. A little bit of grease on the inside, not wild, you don't have to go crazy with it again. I'm just sort of, more just a little bit of protection on the alloy. Now, this actually didn't come out very hard, It wasn't very difficult to get it out. Oh, perfect. That's better. Works better when you get it square. I don't know, bearings home. Now, we'll put, just for a little bit of, because we can, put that on, and we've got two washers here that are just identical. They will set the preload, not the preload, they'll set the gear clearance off the drive gears. So, a little bit of that on the bearing, a little bit of that on the shaft. Assemble the whole thing. That feels substantially better than what it did. So that's ready to go back in the leg now. There's also a spring. Well, spring's in there, sorry. But there's also this little plunger, which is what actually activates. God, my words just aren't working today, I tell you. Actuates the gear change. So, what do we got? In that position, I think we'll be in neutral. When it comes all the way forward, we'll be in one gear. Sorry, back is, yeah. When it's in the center, so this is how the gear selection works on these. So you've got this big dog here, which moves, and then you've got your engagement ramps here. So down in here, turn that light back on. Is that light going to help? Yeah, maybe. So you've got a step section in here. So what happens is, on the back of the selector shaft, there's two ramps. And when you lift it up, the dog is all the way in its back position and engaged with this rearmost. So the drive shaft doesn't move. The drive shaft's engaged to both of them all the time, but only one of them, which is this back one at the moment, will spin. Oh, making a debauchery out of this. So that one will spin the drive. When you push it in, or when you push the selector into a different position, it moves that dog forward and engages that one. And then it comes back and it can engage that one. Anyway, that probably didn't make much sense. I tried. Points for effort, people. What I'm saying is that's ready to go. when the lower unit is all sorted. Now, the seals for the actual drive shaft, that's a different story. So they are 21mm OD and 10.8mm. Geez, I'm glad I just dropped that in the crap on the floor. Now that I've lubed it up. Right, try that again. They are 21mm OD and they are a 10.8mm internal diameter, which is just not a thing. It's not real world. It's not imperial or anything. It is just the shaft's 10.75 or the shaft's 10.8. It's just what they decided they would use in their wisdom. So anyway, I actually have two of them coming direct from Yamaha. They're only $12 a seal, so they're not too bad. Although having said that, I got those two seals, the O-ring and the two bearings for $15 from my local bearing supplier, so you know, it happens. Alright, well that's about alright. Oh, and I made a new gasket for this as well, so it goes like that. And then, yeah, because the other green one was just stuffed. Alright, that really is about all we can do until the lower section is ready to go. So it's been about, what are we now, about 5 or 6 hours out in the sun, and it is Australia. Now, the DevCons, I'm going to say, maybe not 100% to be honest. Sort of tried to scratch it with my nail and it was pretty solid. Yeah, okay. That is. Alright, let's see how we go. I just want to see if this shaft's going to come out, because I'm going to have to drill it out if it doesn't. Oh, come on. Oh. Yes. See? Bit of grease. Sweet. Oh, that's a pretty good looking bore in there too. Oh, God, it's hot. Alright, I reckon that'll and it's not focusing again. This camera's really starting to. There we go. Actually, now you need a torch. There we go. So, yeah. Pretty reasonable. If I can get in the middle of the bloody shot. Yeah, pretty reasonable. Looks good. This side looks good. I pulled the tape off. Pulled the tape off that side. It looks nice. Yeah, I think we might let it harden up a bit more before we go to town and try and flatten the surface out. I think it's about time to give this thing a little file. We'll see how we go. Well, like I said, it goes pretty hard. Alright, well, here's some randomness. It's been bugging me, not sure if it come across on video, that I still can't 100% identify it. And I have. Took a long time. Now, it's good and bad. This is a Yamaha. Although I couldn't find, I don't know if it actually has it on it anywhere, but I couldn't find the 3 tuning fork logo cast into it. What I did find is a model casting. This, and I did show it before in the last video, so like I said, I'll leave a link either in the description or up somewhere. This says 67D in the cast mark on the cylinder, or on the cylinder head, actually, to be specific. You Google that, 67D is a casting name for an F4, not an F5. And basically, that's what it comes up as. So it's an F4 AMH, 1998 is the year. So, and it's an A model. What was getting me was that all the ones I looked, so a lot of people said it's a Parsons. Now, I agree with that for a while, But you have a look and all the Parsons cowlings weren't the same. Matter of fact, pretty much all the cowlings weren't the same. They all had a vent or a grab handle hole here. This one doesn't. It's just one piece, which is really crappily screwed on. I finally found it, and also where are we? The other big kick up it was throwing me is that all the later stuff has a kill cord in here, and they also don't have the start-stop buttons in on the grab handle. They have them down in here, and they've got their own little placard thing. This doesn't. I'm gonna have to change the title of this now. This is actually a 4 horsepower, which is, anyway, I wanted a 5, but from all my reading, the only difference between the 4 and the 5 is the jet sizes in the carburetor. Bore and stroke is exactly the same, compression ratio is the same, the ignition module is the same, so it doesn't have a different ramp curve, it's the same. Shaft is the same, gear ratio in the leg is the same, the props are the same. It's just, they just basically give it more fuel, and I think the throttle blade stop, you've got to bend out of the way a bit, because I don't think I think on the 4, on the 3 and the 4, oh sorry, on the 4 and the 5, I think the throttle blade doesn't open 100%. And then on the 6 it does, and they've got some more things. So in theory, and I don't know how I'm going to prove this, in theory, a jetting chain size should pull this thing out to a 6 horsepower. Not going to run it that far. I don't really want to go and blow it up. But yeah, I thought that's interesting. So now I know what it is. It's a lot older than I thought though, 98. It doesn't look, you know, what's that, 25 years old? It doesn't look 25 years old. But anyway, that's what it is. I thought it would have been a lot of work for someone to go and put a genuine Yamaha boot on it. Well, not a lot of work, but out of the way. Why would you go and buy a genuine Yamaha boot to put on a spark plug lead to try and fool some snapper like me that it's a Yamaha? Anyway, alright, we're going to keep working. I've got that lower leg unit pretty much ready to go, and I'm still waiting on seals. So we'll bring you back when I've got some parts. So, sort of come to time to start getting all this back together. Still don't have my actual seals yet, but I thought let's have a bit of a look at the drive shaft. Now this end where the seals run, I don't know what seals are actually up in the power head, but I'm going to assume that they're probably 2 lip seals. There's a little bit of a groove in there, but it's really... oh, come on, I just fixed you. There we go. So yeah, a few little pitting marks and things, but really nothing wild. I mean, the seals are going to run, you know, they sort of run, well there's the pits, they sort of run about there and about there. That's where the old grooves were. That end's fine. What's not fine is this end. Now this end is where the shaft seals are, the ones that were completely mashed. 2 black lines are the area where the seal runs, or sorry, the areas where the seal live. So that's the most point of the bore, and that's the uppermost point of the bore, and it is just really heavily pitted, gone. Like there's no way you're ever going to get a seal to survive on that. So I thought, what are we going to do? Now there are options. You could weld that up and then machine it back. That is an option. I don't particularly like doing that if I can avoid it. I have done it before, and yes, it works, but yeah, anyway. What I'm going with is I went and brought some new seals. Now, yeah, okay, I've still got the other ones on order. That's fantastic, but yeah, sometimes you just gotta make do. So these ones here are 22mm OD, so they go down in there. That's fine, that's where they're supposed to be, but they're actually a 12mm bore. Now this is shaft's 10.8, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to sleeve this area. Now that only works because of the way this all assembles. So the drive shaft goes down in there, sits about there, and that's fine. That all goes in first. Then the water pump assembly slides in the top because the water pump's only got, you know, a 10.8mm bore. So it'll all work together just fine. It just means that in this section here, and I'm going to have to mark it better than 2 texter lines, this section here will be a raised sleeve out to out to 12 mil. So that's the only way around it. So I'm being a little bit creative here. I don't actually have any 12 mil diameter stainless. So we've got a 1/2 inch stainless bolt here. So I'm going to cut it here, machine, or then, you know, chuck it up in the lathe, do the bore, do the OD for a sleeve, and put it all together and we'll have a stainless sleeve. Here's the setup. So prop shaft's in, or drive shaft is in. I've got a little socket down the bottom which is holding it up so it can't fall down. There's the bush, all spun up, good to go. It's about a 2 thou interference on the bore, which is probably quite fine for this. What we're going to do is I'm going to heat it up with just a little torch. We're going to heat it up, and then in theory we're going to drop it over the end of the shaft and it should just slide straight down onto there. In theory. So this being such a thin wall bush, it'll expand more than 2 thou with a bit of heat. So we'll get that. I'm not sure if that's in the frame or not. Yep. So we're going to warm him up. Alright, that is well and truly too hot, so let's give it a go. Oh, okay, it started to, but then it stopped. Okay, that didn't work. Stand by, I'm going to have to get that off there now. Well, something to be said for perseverance. We got it. There we go. So yeah, we got it. That is the original bush. I just basically hit it harder and got it on there, and because it was pressed over, it actually increased the OD of the bush, and we were able to machine it back to finished size, and it's good. Test fitted it to the right height and everything. That end's going to need a bit of a tidy up. But yeah, so that's it. We've got everything we need to reassemble this bad boy now. So actually, I don't know if I pointed it specifically, but that's what we ended up with as far as the DevCon goes, which I'm really happy with. I think that's as good a repair as anything else. Put them on. So anyway, I'm going to go ahead and we're going to install these seals. As I said, we're going to put one down towards the oil and then 2 up, which is where the water side could possibly come in from the impeller. So we're going to get all... that's it, we're all back together. Wasn't too bad. The worst part of all that is trying to get the gear selector linkage together. It was a bit of a mission, but we got there. So let's see what happens. This is stone cold, obviously I haven't ran it. Choke out, there's a start position on that, which is there. Let's see what happens. Good start here. Huh. Alrighty. I wasn't in. That's neutral there. Oh, there we go. Obviously, just takes a bit to get it to fire. That's choked off too. A little bit. Really got a little bit low on that idle.